depends. If you just get a grant, like if the dentist when you're young just say, yeah, you need this, then you'll get it. Like my roommate Lucas, he had his like entire upper jaw sawed off and moved forward and
Jeez.
braces and everything. So it was like 100,000 crowns, and it's the government. They pay for it all because they said that he'd get detriments in life if he didn't. So it's not that the government is completely like just you fuck you, you do what you want or something, but it's just funny that it isn't covered more. I think in a system where everything else is covered, the only thing that costs money, yeah, is the doctor's checkup. So like you need to get a driver's license, you need one, or if you need to tell uni you're sick for an exam, they need proof, or if you need like Crocs, like support for when you have broken your legs or something, or a wheelchair, you need to rent that from the government. But that's fair because before you just gave them to people and they never returned them, and
Yeah.
that cost a lot of money. So it's nothing. It's like 20 quid or something you have to give, and then that's
It's
just to
just,
return the
just it's
fucking
just
thing.
at least a proof that you're willing to bring it
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. It's nothing else.
They oh God, everyone in this call beside Mosey. In England, we in our shopping marts, malls, whatever you want to call it. Um, a lot of people will steal the carts because they're convenient for any other reason.
Mm.
And it's you literally just put £1 in, it's unlocked, and you can just walk away with it. No one's going to stop
Yeah,
you. No one's paid enough to bother stopping you. Like, and it happens a lot around here.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, I've got a secret for you. No,
Hmm.
not so much of a secret.
Was that?
When I worked at M&S, at some point, they did away with all the pound locks.
Okay.
So pretty much people were just able to take it whenever.
Why? That's so stupid.
And it was also during COVID times as well.
Ugh.
Hmm.
Like,
So with that, it was just we'd find next day part of the warehouse job would be in the morning would be to go outside and round up all the trolleys that had been scattered around the parking lot.
yeah.
And it was just like, this is why we need to lock them.
People are
But even then,
genuinely just lazy, regardless of if they're going to steal it or not. They will just leave it strolling across the road as you're driving into the driving into the parking spots, and
yeah.
it's just
There was a work colleague at the time who taught me something about trolleys that made me very suspicious about leaving
um,
anything around him.
everybody give me a d20. Carry on, Connor.
And that was he showed me how to
Oh my
how
god.
to unlock a trolley without using a pound coin.
Is it like a one of those fuck, what do they call it? Not keys on not coins on a string, but you know what I mean, right? You
No,
okay?
even more elaborate than that. And it was the most easiest and convenient thing to use in your entire arsenal.
Subscribe
Think
to
you're at
find these
work.
10 hot tricks.
No, I'm just gonna say, at work, pretty much you're at work, right? And yeah, just think about it.
I don't want to. I'm at
Out
home
of
right
all
now.
the things that he showed me how to unlock it, a pen lid. Do you know those basic pens that you get for
Yeah.
like, one with the sort of like the
Oh, you're
see-through
no,
casing and the straight and the really
no,
awkward lids and the
no,
straight sort of
really.
like, yeah,
I was thinking about it just there because you've got like
yeah, the really straight
really,
lid, isn't you?
and you've
Yeah,
got the
you
you've got
literally,
the like down pointer thing.
yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
so
All you need to
stupid.
do is you put the lid in and you literally go left and right and it unlocks it.
That is so stupid.
It was a trick that he taught me and told all of the other warehouse staff how to do. And pretty much, I sort of looked at him and I said, "You don't go about doing this to guys, do you?" And he sort of laughed. He went, "No, no, totally not, man." He was like, "I tried it once, though," and I was just like, "Yeah, of course you would." But yeah, it was pretty much during COVID time. We just went about unlocking every single trolley that was needed, and we just do that, and it was just like bloody hell. Or if customers would just would automatically try to lock it, and that was the reason why we did away with the locks, because customers kept putting it back and jamming it back in, even though, well, we weren't really using coins, and you know how with contactless and stuff nowadays, not many people bring cash with them or have pound coins, so it was part of our job to unlock the trolleys, and rather than going to the tills and giving us a pound coin, Antonio just came up, well, we're just like, hold on, wait a minute, and just realised that he could do it, and then just told everyone in the warehouse to do it, and it was just like, okay. Interesting.
That's
No, the managers knew about it, but the weird thing was, the managers just knew that we knew how to unlock it, but no manager actually questioned how we knew how to unlock them
to be
without a
fair.
pound coin.
They know for a fact you'd have to deal with the aftermath if they went missing anyway. So, and
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
solved a problem. So, Mostly, you have the joy of, yeah,
The floor.
you have the
Yes.
floor.
Let me just finish showing you.
Also, I have a proud announcement I'd like to make. I'm drinking my first glass of alcohol tonight.
Nice.
First one.
It's been a while since our poor boy has been able to enjoy himself.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, I've actually been off medication for 2 whole days now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's great, but at the same time, it's wrecked my anus, so not so great.
What a healthy sentence.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway,
so last session you could say we looked around. Varnex saw an entrance and went inside. Once inside, everything was dark, so we left his sword up, which is cool. Ah, wait. The helper, what's his name? Gave him a light on
Gull.
the sword. Yes, that guy. So he went inside. Inside he saw some freaky shit, which tried to attack him. And now he's essentially up against a big zombie making flower.
yep.
And that's inside. And outside, while we were waiting, we heard a big ass rumbling. And we saw a big dragon coming in with the name of, I can't find it.
It's
Oh, nice.
lightning kite.
Yes, lightning. Yes, Kite.
Lightning.
So yeah, there was a bit of a brawl between the dinosaur and the dragon, and you see that the dragon killed him. Yeah, and now Varnex is inside, and his sword is feeling a bit tingly, and he's feeling a bit tingly because of the dragon, I suppose. And let's see how he gets out of this one. But we're outside shitting our pants.
Well, slightly add on top of that. Obviously, I think you'd left a little bit after, but I don't know if you were still there or not when it happened, or if it was after you left. Small addition on top. After that, his blade started glowing with many series of different blues. He ran up above, feeling this weird connection with the beast lightning kite. As it made its second round over, killing the dinosaur, he ran outside, climbed the central tree, went up to the canopy, realizing that the lightning kite was coming for another drive around to try and hurt you guys, as it had noticed some of you running out of the way. Varnex, using this connection that you can kind of feel from the lightning kite, essentially egged it on and attracted its attention, holding the shining blade up into the sky, attracting lightning kite's eye, because what's more attractive to your own eye than someone hovering a part of your body in front of you? and it flew toward him and is currently above the tree of canopies. You can all feel the beating of the wind as its wings slap the sky itself. It stands a couple of feet above flying a couple of feet above Varnex right now, and its whole body is shimmering and has this static energy constantly arcing off of it. And that is where we left.
When I left, the dinosaur was still alive.
The what was still alive, sorry?
The dinosaur.
Oh, right. Well, TLDR, yeah. He came around for another shot, ran by, saw your party, came back, got distracted by Varnex, and now here we are.
It's like Palpatine and Mace Windu.
So, yeah.
Mozzie, do you have inspiration?
Yes, you can get it.
Yes, I need it. Thank you.
You're gonna need it.
Yo, enjoy it.
I think for Kirby's sake, I hope it's not like Palpatine and Mace Windu.
Yeah, we all know how
It was
that ended up.
exactly like that. It was just without all the unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, you guys are evil.
Oh.
Anakin.
I love the monotone voice.
From my perspective, Anakin, you are evil. Yeah, so firstly, you guys can see as the canopy of trees is being the top half of it is being brushed aside by the consistent wing beat of lightning kite above you. Who you can see is looking down towards what you can just about make out to be a figure at the top of the trees with him that you basically know is Varnex. What are you guys doing? And I'm saying this in a term of there's not really any time to talk, it's just more of what's your immediate reaction. Would you start walking or running back toward Varnex or continue running away?
I'm still attempting to hide behind trees, man.
Well, what's the dragon doing right now?
Well, as of the moment, it is still flying above Varnex. I'm just waiting for your initial reactions before I carry on with the scene itself, because it could end up being that the first word that comes out of Varnex's mouth could be the one that causes the creature to attack immediately, or it could be the one that distracts it.
Yeah, seeing everyone else fighting is the same.
I feel like he's so far away. If I were to yell, it wouldn't do a whole lot.
Nope.
I need to keep my shield up. I need to protect at least these people.
True.
So I guess I'll just look on. Yeah.
So as of the moment, Varnex is roughly about 140, 50 feet, give or take, from where you are at the minute. And obviously, giant flying creature batting its wings.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are mostly staying in place, then that solves that. For those of you who are attempting to hide, make a stealth check. As for you, Varnex, what do you do as it is there flying above you?
Can't make a stealth check.
No, you are right in front of it.
I mean, I
Get
can
it,
make it.
get over this.
But I feel like I should get disadvantage. I'm making a giant sphere of blue light.
To be fair, if you attempted a stealth check, technically you'd have to move. So, you know, if you
It can't see me if I don't move.
if I don't move, it
Besides,
can't
become
see me.
invisible.
Its vision is based on movement.
Based on movement.
Okay, so given the monstrosity that's in front of me,
Mhm.
the first thing I say is, I have friends, kill them instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and not believe you say that.
I don't believe you have friends.
I don't believe you have friends.
I have acquaintances.
I have adventuring buddies.
No, get behind.
Yeah. Uh, what do you say, if anything, as its eyes are focused on you at the moment? But
The first, I hold the blade back, like maintaining a stance.
mhm.
And like before, I'm trying to maintain my energy to the blade to try and focus on the connection between it and I.
Mhm.
And then I speak in Draconic and just go, "What do you want?"
The eyes, the slits for pupils, you see that they contract a little. The demeanor doesn't change. This thing, massive in scale, large wing beats, looks down at you, and you feel a sensation of anger, of animosity, as it's looking down towards you, and the weird, jagged, twisted, claw-like fingers, nails. The right hand turns. One finger protrudes and points toward your blade, looking down at you, and that animosity crawls up you. It's almost like a plague of insects running across your skin. You can feel it.
So this thing is pissed I made the sword out of its scale.
Pretty much. The fact you have it is living proof that it has been hurt.
Okay, shit. Okay, so I cancel like the fighting stance. I take a knee, put the blade to this. I stab the blade into the trunk of the tree in front of me. I still hold onto it, and I again still speaking Draconic and go, "We are not your enemies."
The creature's eye slit. It widens to the point that it almost looks like a normal humanoid eye, and it becomes a proper circular pupil. And it then returns, quickly contracts back into a slit. The creature's arm stretches out a little bit further, and as it's moving, hovering the claws over your head about 10 feet above you, the shade caused by it blocking out the sun that easily, you can see the static running along its body, moving towards the tops of its claws, and even in that proximity, the blade in your hand, you can feel the electricity coursing through it, coursing through you. It doesn't hurt exactly, but you know the power is in there, and it's reacting to the presence of the creature. And it slowly retracts its claw back, returns it to its side, and you hear... It sounds like Draconic, but it has more of an ancient verbalization to it. It's almost like if I started speaking oldie Englishy to you. You understand, but it's still kind of weird.
Is there any chance I could focus my energy in the blade and stuff like that to establish that connection, which can help me understand it a bit better?
Yeah. I won't do a roll for this, since you are in pretty much immediate proximity, and its intention is being made very clear. You, holding onto the blade, the energy coursing through you, you return to that same sensation you felt below, and yet again your own senses, your eyes, your ears, even your taste, your mind all kind of joins with it loosely, and you feel that sensation of complete hatred, disgust, anger, ferocity, but curiosity is there as well. Underlying beneath it all, it's bubbling so low beneath the surface, but it's still interested enough that that curiosity, if piqued, could outweigh everything else. As of the moment, with the sensations you're getting from it, sharing not exactly the same emotion, but something close, the creature wants to kill you, but it's curious as to how this thing, the thing that's been made of its scale, is causing this connection between you. Seemingly it is feeling something from you too. It's drawing something from you as well. And it seems to be stopping it. Though, same as what I've said already, a wrong move and it will attack. That curiosity is just... it's slowly drowning away beyond everything else.
Okay, so its main focus is basically it's pissed that someone or something hurt it enough to lose one of its scales.
Yep. And has immortalized that loss in a blade.
Okay, so I want to match for match its emotions, so I focus on my memories, the moments from my past where my rage comes from, to try and establish a connection, and I still speak in Draconic and go, "You are not the only one who knows rage." And then I hold the blade up, and I go, "I am not." And again, I'm going, "I am not the one that did this to you." Trying to establish more of a connection, like, "Hey, we're bros." But I don't say that.
No. It bellows out with actual speech in Draconic, and again, it is a similar kind of thing. It has that kind of verbiage of like, "Sire, thou hast ruined me," that kind of thing. It doesn't sound like that, but it's the idea. You misinterpret. Your rage is mine. As long as you've held that blade, it has exemplified it. You steal from me by your existence. That blade, the very existence of it sickens me. Though, from that wellspring and a connection I have loosely felt since your arrival, I admit I have. You see as the head is slowly turning a little bit left and right, but the eyes remain on you. I have felt different. An expansion on my mind. Emotions that would sicken me under normal circumstance. Now I see you, I see this falsehood of what should remain on my person. I understand. I ask you one simple question, Nat, who shares only part of my blood. Why should I bother to keep you alive and not wreck you where you lay, and return that blade to cinders?
Okay, I'm about to do something which is either going to be really, really smart or really, really stupid.
Oh.
You all remember that scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Palpatine shoots lightning and Mace Windu deflects it with his lightsaber?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay.
I'm gonna try that. So, I...
It's basically what you say.
God.
Do your worst.
Okay. Plus, my blade did shoot electric stuff before underground, so fingers crossed. Okay. I hold the blade up and go, and test my strength. Strike me with your power and see what happens. And I'm gonna ready with everything I go.
Okay, okay. I like this. I like this. Um. Okay. It
Any
will not
chance?
hesitate for a second.
Okay, I just want to run something by you first. Unfortunately, I spent all my key points before. Any chance I could trade an inspiration for one? Because if I can somehow channel my chi into electricity, I'm hoping that might give me an edge.
I will do you this because inspiration is slightly more important than just the one. You can have two, and because you're using inspiration on it, and because this is gonna be very interesting, like story-wise, and just pretty badass considering what it is. Yeah, you can have two from it, and let's see how well this goes because this could either be insane or this could be the end of you because we'll see. We'll see. It's one of those. It's more of a 30-70 chance, but the possibility is always there. Lightning Kite being essentially told, "Bring it, bro!" immediately, with all the static electricity gathered around it, draws all of it in with a breath, and is going to lightning breath you. Make technically it would normally be a dexterity save, but considering this is a I'm showing you my prowess. Roll a roll a Constitution save. Do it with advantage for one key point, and with the second key point, that key point will be used to do something unique. Is the way I'll put it.
Advantage. So a Constitution save.
Mm-hmm.
Any chance? You said you were decided between dexterity and Constitution. Could it be dexterity? I have thinking with that.
Under this circumstance, no, because this is a I will show you my strength. If you dodge it, that's basically saying doesn't matter. Okay. So Lightning Kite being a incredibly ancient being deals 10d10 lightning damage with your other key point. Give me a second here. What is your dexterity score?
19.
Very nice. So with your other key point, you will not only reduce the total damage, whatever it comes to, by 19. You didn't succeed your con save, unfortunately. You were literally one off. However, with all of the extra effort put into this and the inspiration included, you'll reduce the total by 19. And because of the circumstances, you are taking this head on, and because of the blade, the total will then be halved as well. So 10d10 lightning damage. Okay. Total of 32, then reduced also by. Someone do quick math. Oh, why's my brain suddenly just cancelled?
Forced me to do math in my free time as well.
22 reduced by 19 is just 3. What am I on about? That's right, isn't it?
No, that's you're thinking of 20.
Yeah. 32 is what I said, sorry.
You can do it, Lee.
Oh god, no, my brain is just really not with it, holy fuck.
Come on, it's 13.
13?
Unlucky number. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
or lucky 13. I guess that's a unlucky lucky number, I don't know.
Yeah. So Varnex, you take 13 lightning damage, and you...
13?
Yeah?
Oh, thank God.
Because the total is halved, and because of your dexterity imbued into the reduction as well. You reduce it from a good 64.
I've got 6 temporary hit points, so would that be 7?
Yes. Even better. So,
Quick math. Okay.
quick math. As Lightning Kite reels back a little, all the static gathering around its body up toward its mouth, immediately causing a visible ball of lightning that it immediately swallows and then spits forward at you in this arc. With the blade held, you
So I
slam
want
it.
to try and catch this lightning and redirect it back at it, like swing, like smack in the face.
Okay. So as the beam blasts at you, you quickly swing the blade forward. As you swing it forward, a lot of the energy is being drawn into the blade itself. The rest you are bypassing by your own force of will. As you drain most of the energy, you do take a couple of sparks and shocks, but not enough to really be of any consequence. As you rear your arm back, swing it forward, the lightning drawn in by the blade that is covered in this static and a very Palpatine like explosion of lightning shoots from it. As it sparks against Lightning Kite, you see no reaction. Lightning Kite is an entity of lightning. As the energy is blasted back into it, it simply stares, though you feel while connected to it a sensation of confusion and that very overwhelming pressure of annoyance, hatred, and animosity is subsided a little. It's pushed under the confusion, and the curiosity is slowly peeking out a little further. And as that blast finishes, and you just see the smoke that's billowed around Lightning Kite for a second, very quickly snuffed out by its wing beat, as it remains floating there, looking down toward you. You see the claws, they're tensing, they're moving. You feel an unknowing coming from the creature. It's not sure what to do about this. And it's trying to decide between if it should continue its animosity or if it should find out what this is. And it remains flying there, just staring down at you as it processes. Do you say anything?
I just maintain maintain eye contact here, focusing. I'm still a bit curious, since I know the connection, the curiosity is what's keeping me alive, so I'm trying to keep that going.
Okay. It's it looks dead into your eyes, and you get the sensation it knows, because you are currently connected. It's feeling what you're feeling, and it says, "An interesting interaction. One you know you cannot win, yet you defy me. You are. There are no words. A curiosity, yes."
You are a pirate.
Shut up, you. The eyes drift toward the
Did
blade.
Carrick say that out loud?
No.
The dragon's head just instantly turns to everyone else.
Lightning bolts him.
No, I just got back from the toilet, and plus, Carrick doesn't understand Draconic, so you know.
As a note for you lot as well, Goswain is, as he's like hidden behind a tree, is like looking over towards the dragon up in the sky, and like as he's looking up toward it, he turns around, looks toward you each, and just kind of whispers to you, Carrick. Shouldn't we find a better hiding spot? If that one turns around and charges after us once they've dealt with your friend in whatever manner they are going to, wouldn't it be better that we were, I don't know, either in the tree or, well, not the village? It could be in danger if we go back, but just not here?
Can do. I sort of like the tree that I'm standing behind. Just sort of look at him and I just say, "You need to find yourself a good sizable tree, maybe. But even then, if
No, 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 I mean, shouldn't we go into that tree?" He points to the big dead one in the middle. Because if it took a blast from the creature's lightning earlier and survived and got beaten raw by that big thing, wouldn't we have a better luck hiding in there?
we have no clue really what's in there, other than, well, the Varnex was running out of it, so
Mm.
don't think we really have much of a chance here, other than to, oh, hope Varnex knows what he's doing up there.
See, he looks up towards the canopy that every now and again just flies open. Well, I certainly hope he does, because that is a menace.
Yeah, and even if we were to, well, make a run for it, if we're going to make a run for it to that tree, dragons, well, I didn't really know about dragons at all, but assuming they are smarter than most predators out in here, any form of sudden movement will cause it to just, well, cause havoc everywhere. And that would be a 50-50, or whether you die, I die, everyone else dies, or whether a few of us makes it. So I'm putting my faith in Varnex right now.
He nods a little bit, still looking up at the canopy, and he just remains crouched. And yeah, Varnex, the lightning kite, just spreads its arms out with the wings still beating. I cannot allow the stain. There must be recompense. Yet I find this curiosity bubbling high. The head tilts slightly. If I let a red one like yourself live with proof, what are you going to do with it? With my power?
What power? I have power enough without it. I didn't know this was made from you until just now.
Then return it! And you see the hand move forward slightly, and this small arc of lightning, not from it, from the clouds above, shoots down behind you.
I just casually put the blade on top of my shoulder and go, I've grown quite attached to it. And besides, what stain? Last I recall, it was not I that did this to you. How did you become so injured?
And yet you parade it around in front of me. It was a foul little man. One wearing similar scales. I will break him if I ever find him.
Gales. Another Dragonborn.
No.
Who?
A man with many arms, many weapons, wielding scales like armor.
Greg?
No.
Any chance I might know that what he's meaning?
The only creatures, anyway, that you can think of in terms of many arms would be like maybe some kind of ogre, an asura, there is also like, shit, I can't remember what the fuck's their names. There are snake entities that have several arms, that usually use several weapons, and they're very dexterous.
You
What's that?
you want tea?
No, but similar things.
Okay.
I think I know. Oh, what is it called again?
But yeah. Make a. I'll say a general intelligence check.
General intelligence. Okay.
Oh, bitch. So, the creature is massive and ancient. For something. For a singular creature to even graze one of its scales off and piss it off this much, it had to be someone of real potential and power. Maybe it was done in his earlier years, and it could explain why the hatred is so high, because he's lived with it for so long. Creatures like this typically are prideful, even regardless of its weird monstrosity-like state. The only person you can think of that would have this much animosity toward you, this much animosity towards someone doing something like this, that would have the strength to do it, that has several arms and carries several weapons, would be an Asura. In particular, the only Asura in history that has ever been strong enough to take on dragons and survive many times was Gilgamesh.
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, Greg.
I see, I knew it was Greg.
So more than likely, at certain point in history, Gilgamesh has encountered the lightning kite, be it in its youth or in its later years, has either challenged it or it challenged him, or whatever the circumstances, and it took one of its scales. You don't know the extenuating circumstances, but you feel that would line up.
This thing's is connected with my mind, so it knows what I know, right?
In terms of like raw feeling, more so than memory. So you'll never see like memories or anything. If you say like a name and it provokes something in him, you'll feel the feeling he has toward that name, but you'll never relive any memories he has or anything like that. It's more primal.
Oh shit. Okay, this is awkward. God damn it, Lee. Why'd you throw us together?
Because I'm good at what I do.
Just give me a minute, I need to think.
What the rest are you doing? Just enjoying the show?
How long would you say that this has lasted? Like, until now?
I'd say a good like 30-40 seconds by this point.
I'm hiding, but not much I can do.
Keeping faith in Varnex.
Oh, okay, I've thought of something.
Okay.
I'm still gonna try and talk my way out of this. Because I know we can't fight this thing. And I don't want to give up my sword. I'm not giving up my blue katana. Fuck off. And perhaps a deal. A matter of retribution. Interested?
You see, there is the curiosity remains the same. The confusion elevates a little. The animosity is still very much prevalent, but it's stifled just a little bit. You take it to mean it will listen, but whether or not it will accept is a different thing.
You seek retribution. A chance to battle whatever it was that injured you. Am I wrong? With this, I can connect with you and you through me. I am very well traveled, and I have been traveling to some very interesting planes. With me with this, you have a stronger chance of finding whatever did this to you. Surely you seek that more than I swing my sword about, than this. Hmm?
You feel that the bubbling animosity is like a boiling pot, but it's not because of you. As the creature thinks of the moments, the memory, it gets angrier at it. And then there's that curiosity while it's staring at you that's also bubbling just as much. And it's currently weighing which is more important. If
I
it
am
takes...
sure the rage you have, yeah, I am sure the rage you have within you is transferred within this, and I rub the blade against my hand. Not the sharp end.
Yeah.
I'm sure this will react within proximity to whoever, whatever, did that to you. And I point the blade towards its eye. That's missing a scale.
Make a perception check, by the way.
Perception?
Mhm.
What, did I point to the wrong eye?
No, no, no. The missing scale is literally... it is at the eye. It's directly underneath where the pupil is. There's just this one segment, essentially, of what looks to be like this very bone-white flesh that's revealed underneath. And there's something that glints a little bit with the glow of the sun. You can't quite see what it is due to the size of the creature and the fact that the missing scaled area is relatively tiny in comparison. There's just this something that kind of catches a glint of light, but you can't quite make out what it is. Make a persuasion check with advantage, because it is teetering a little bit more onto accepting.
Alright, persuasion +0.
Good luck.
I've already used inspiration. Anyone want to spare inspiration?
Yeah, sure. You can have mine.
Okay.
Can that work?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I've said
Oh, I
before,
didn't know
you guys can interchange as much as you want. So roll again with a... Yep, there you go.
That's it.
So DC was 15, so succeed. It retracts its arms enough that it kind of looks like a T-Rex with the arms hovering at its side. You can still see as the arms have kind of like wings, they've like folded backward a little. The wings themselves, they slowly stop flapping as hard, and it lands gently on the canopy of trees, resting, planting its claws down into the trees themselves, using them as something to hold on to. You see they start to bow beneath its weight. With the two small hind legs it has and its long tail, it coils the tail around a series of trees and binds them. It leans closer to you, and by the looks of it, this is about as small as it can get, but even then it's in front of you. Its head alone is equivalent to a large creature. And as it leans closer, its snout within 5 feet of you, it says, "I agree. However, I want insurance." The claw moves forward, and you see the clawed, serrated blade-like nails as the hand slowly encompasses around you, not enough to actually grab you, but as they maneuver around you, you see as these small arcs of it static come pouring from all over its body, and around the nails it binds you in like a cage for a moment. You see as the blade starts to draw in this static, and as it's drawing in the static, you do feel these sharp snaps around your body as it does hit you as well. But it is literally just like a static shock. It is kind of like as the electric gathers around you, after it does these little bolts, the claws remain as a cage, blocking from immediate exit exactly, but not enough to really fully stop you if you tried. The creature then, its eyes return to fully open circles. It then looks at you, and you feel this invasion in your mind almost, but it's not a psychic connection. You feel adrenaline, a shot of it all of a sudden run through your body. Your heart quickens incredibly. Your breathing triples, and suddenly your eyes turn to slits, split back open to full circles, and you see everything with this shade of red, as if you have been induced with a full body difference. The hand slowly curls away and retracts back to its side. The creature's eyes then return to slits as it flickers, and it leans back a little bit, returning to a larger standing arc. While the blade is in your possession, and you are attuned to it now, the blade is considered a true piece of the creature, but you are also considered a piece of the creature now while you are connected to the blade. And while connected to the blade, you can use its abilities, so to speak. They will unlock over time as long as Lightning Kite trusts you enough. And from either end of the Willow Plains, it can contact you, and it can still give you more powers if you can prove that you have good intentions. As of the moment, there is a deal between you that you'll sort of, air quotes, help it find the one who fought it. Whether or not you do that is up to you. It will not help you in any regards beyond that. If you help it find the person and fight, who knows, you might get certain pact boons, we'll call it. Otherwise, you will get the bare bones version of the blade.
Did you just make me subclass as a warlock?
No. That is up to you, however. Because you can totally do that now if you wanted to. You have a primordial connection to an entity that could do that. Or you can continue down your monk path. All I'm saying is, if you do happen to journey down that path with it, you would have a deeper connection with the Lightning Kite.
You just made things so awkward for me now.
I don't know what you're talking about. You have all the options in the world.
Gilgamesh is the thing that injured this thing. I was raised in a temple that was a Gilgamesh
Yup.
temple, and now suddenly, you. This feels personal.
Hey, I'm giving you great options here. You can pact with a pseudo-dragon, or you can continue down your path in monkhood. You can find out why you've got all this primordial rage, and maybe use it. Or continue your monastic traditions.
We'll see where it goes.
So, after that, the dragon lifts up, releases the trees as they start to break a little more. It floats, the wing beats beginning again, the wind wafting quickly around. You and I are connected on a much deeper level. While you insist to hold that fragment of me, I will always know where you are. And I will always be listening and watching. You may use my power, and if you deem to show me the one who did this, points to its eye with its claw, you may be rewarded further. But if you dare to lie, if you betray me, I will know, and I will rip my piece from your fried corpse, and I will kill everything and everyone that you care for.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, bro.
It then beats its wings, starts floating a couple of feet higher up into the air. It snarls toward you, lifts up a little bit further, and then turns around, flies off into the distance. And you notice after barely 10 feet of flight, its speed quickens, almost triples, as the wings are coated in static and then lightning as it bolts and causes a thunder effect to ripple as it disappears into the distance. Even with it leaving, there is still that feeling of animosity and this primal adrenaline that's running through you. It does seem to be fully connected to you while the blade is in your person. What
So
would you like to do?
first thing I do is, first I sheath the blade,
Mm-hmm.
then with all the adrenaline stuff like that, my knees buckle, and I'm on my knees, and I just scream, "Shit!"
Okay.
I sort of look back to the guy, I can't remember his name, is next
Go.
to me, and just. I sort of look to Guy and I just say, oh, you know, I'm not exactly a paladin or a cleric, but faith is quite the powerful thing.
He looks over toward you and raises an eyebrow and just says, sure, let's go with that. Gold begins to walk over.
I will dissipate my shield
Okay.
and take a heavy breather. Fuck, I've been up this for long.
Been floating in place. So
I would like to climb down from the tree.
Yep.
And say, climb down safely. And what's this guy's name again?
goal.
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 Goal. Oh, goal. Okay.
Goal.
So, yeah. So upon seeing goal.
Goal.
Goal. Whatever. So upon seeing goal, I run over to him and I grab his shirt by his shoulders and lift him up and go, "What the fuck did you do to my sword?"
He looks over to you very confused. He goes, I didn't do anything.
Oh, sure you didn't do anything. As soon as you cast that spell, that thing came.
He immediately shrugs, pats your hand, and just kind of waves his finger around with the lights cantrip on it and goes, "This doesn't summon dragons, I'm afraid. My research would
Get back
be..."
here now!
What?
I'm screaming for Soul to get his ass here now.
I'm here, Andrew.
And I point to this. Is this just a simple cantrip? This.
Yes, it is just a simple cantrip.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be fair, even without like any checks, you just look at it as like, yeah, obviously.
You're gonna feel like 4 things like prod you in the back of the head as the newelist charge up a shot, and I'm just gonna very simply ask, I'd like you to put my associate down.
I'm still holding Gull, and I just turn my head to Asta, and I just drop Gull, just instantly release him.
He lands.
And what was Ollie's character name?
Gideon.
Gideon, that was it. And I just go, Gideon, you piece of shit, I'm gonna kill you.
Thank you kindly. I'm gonna help go up to his feet if he hasn't.
Oh no, he seemed to land fine. He adjusts his collar a little bit.
I'm just going to sort of like walk past this, sort of walk up the Varnex, pat him on the shoulder, and just sort of like look down towards his trousers and look back up to him, and give him another pat on the back.
Hey, eyes are up here, mate.
I sort of look at you and just say, just checking to see if you wet yourself or not. I just give you a hearty smile.
I just turn to Carrick, I'm like, basically I've got nothing to say, I'm just,
And I sort of whisper to you. Not gonna lie, if you died, I was gonna have very much a lot of trouble running.
I just crumble down to the ground. I'm like, I need a bit of a break.
Not just yet, I would hope. You do still have a mission. He points toward the tree.
And I point back to it. The job was for that thing to go. It's dead. I mean, yes, there's an underground cavern, but right now I need a bit of a break.
You look like you need some muscle. Oh, something else to relax.
I'm gonna. That's my character sheet when I open up. There it is. It opened. Oh, it opened 5 up. Oh no, please stop. Oh no. Don't do this.
Beep, 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 beep.
Not to. There we go. I know why it opened up the newer list. My bad. Just gonna give him a quick medicine check.
Okay.
Just gonna see like how
Oh,
what's his
people,
condition,
people.
and I want to know them every cell, like every single cell of this
Okay,
body, please.
so he might have a few historical problems, but in this current present time, he's a little exasperated. His pupils are dilated beyond belief. Even without checking his heartbeat, you, with your expert eye, can tell that his heart is racing. You can tell by the quickening of his breath, the general movement of his stomach. If he sits down for a couple of minutes, whatever the effect is should wear off, unless it's permanent, in which case he's probably going to die in the next few minutes. But you feel like that's just unlikely. It seems being in proximity in defiance of the creature, as well as whatever the creature did a moment ago, has caused his body to accelerate to a level that he's not completely comfortable with, and his body is making up for that in strides. Stuff like calm emotions and things like that would help in this situation as well, just as a general note. But beyond that, there is one thing that's new about him that you notice, that you've got very limited interactions with him, but it's pretty noticeable. You notice the whites of his eyes now have, usually there'd be like the little red strands. They're slightly blue, and the ring around the iris itself, it seems to take well to light. When light hits his eyes, you can see this small shine of a blue ring around his iris. He, by the looks of it, without knowing yet, 'cause it's not applicable right now, has taken on some racial advantages from the dragon, either by intention or by being in proximity to it for too long, and this adrenaline effect kicking in. He has dark vision now.
Interesting. Did the Draken do anything to you? You seem a little different.
I just look up to Asta and just go, it's complicated.
I see. Well, I suppose we'll have plenty of time to talk when we head back. Shall we all, or any further business here? Unless you want to drag this carcass with you.
Oh, maybe we can harvest it for some, potion things, potion materials.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna try and do that. If anyone wants to join me, that would be much appreciated.
Sure, I'll join.
Okay.
Great. What should I roll?
Gutting monsters isn't really my field of expertise. No, thank you.
I thought you were a doctor. You want to dissect things.
I am a medical professional, yes. Not a poacher.
How would you get better at surgery if you don't, practice?
I hardly think a scalpel would work on this.
But, carving things. Does it matter if it's, does it matter the size? An incision is an incision.
Yes, an incision is an incision. You are quite right. I will leave this in professional hands. You seem to be quite educated on the matter.
Yeah, okay.
So I do have monster carving rules. And this is the first time we really get to explore them. They're very simple, to be fair. When you guys are carving pieces of monsters, there is a failure rate, there is a success rate, and there is a major success rate. The DCs will be not really differing. It's usually the typical like 10, 15, 20s. But the failure rate goes from 0 to whatever the creature's AC is without a dexterity modifier. So in this case, the DC is 14. If you meet or beat 14, you have a success. If you get further than, say, like 15 or so, if you get 16 or above, you are likely to get multiple pieces off of the creature that are prevalent. So anything that you could actually use in a potion. Or if in the instance that you guys are carving something and you want something in particular, like obviously for this creature, the hammer tail itself, that's something you can attempt to take as well. The DCs are different depending on what you're trying to take, because, for example, if you try to take an organ out of the creature, that's fine. That's part and package. But if the organs are deep inside of an exoskeleton surrounded by muscle and flesh and then some kind of other outer skeleton, it's well defended, so DCs change. But that's the only real difference. If you choose a specific, more DCs will be added. Otherwise, you have a flat range typically. With that knowledge, there is also the fact of if you don't have proficiency in survival, you can only roll strength when carving.
I have proficiency in survival.
You do or don't?
I do.
Oh, nice. So the rules are with that, if using strength, any part carved off is damaged if you fail, and a large portion of the body is made unusable if you roll a natural 1, giving disadvantage on all further rolls, as well as losing any fine quality pieces from the creature. So in other words, if you fail, it becomes more difficult. if you get a natural 1, you will never get anything greater than a normal piece. However, if you're using survival and roll a 20 on the d20, you carve off additional pieces, both of which, or majority of which, will always be of fine quality. So, with that in mind, you and Connor make me either a strength or a survival check. If you have proficiency in survival, you can make the survival check. People can assist in this, but if a dice is rolled, that is that. There is no assisting it.
So should I roll with advantage since it's helping me? Or
Is someone going to give him assistance to the carving?
Yeah, I'm gonna help Ricardo.
Okay then you can roll with advantage, Mosey.
right?
Very nice. Okay.
So I believe the parts were the hammer, the teeth, and the back spine, which are outside the body.
Yes, indeed. So let me just get you some of that real quick. Ba, 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 ba. There you go. It obviously only has one tail. You can gather as many teeth as you want with a 20. It has a total of 30. And with the bone spines, you can collect 5. You can collect more if you spend more time, but as of the minute, collecting all of this alone would take about an hour.
Okay, so I'll take, the tail.
Mhm.
I'll take the, you said 13 teeth?
It has a total of 32 teeth. They come out pretty easy.
Okay, so can I take all of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much
How much
would the tail weigh?
The tail is humongous. The tail itself would weigh easily 150. It's one of those you might need a cart for, but you, for example, if you were in your larger size, could carry that around as if it was a weapon.
No.
As an idea for you.
That's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
So do we need a cart or what?
With the teeth and the spines, they're not too terrible. You could carry them. The tail, all of you would have to start dragging it to get it back. Otherwise, getting a cart would be a good idea, or you can have, like I said, Connor be big size and carry it with him.
That will only last for 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, you're only 5 minutes away from the village.
Wait, is it 10 minutes or is it a minute? 1 second, I just want to check this before I go about saying 10 minutes. No, it lasts for 1 minute.
It's up to you guys.
But would a shared strength check between me and Brick be able to maybe carry it?
No, it really would have to take quite a few of you. Solely, not even just because of the weight, it's because of the length. The entire thing, unless you cut specifically beneath the hammer itself and just take the hammer, the tail itself is just as meaty.
I mean, if it's just 5 minutes away, we can leave it here for now and come back with the cart.
Okay.
Just a 10-minute thing.
Good.
Then if that
would be an idea to have someone guard it, maybe. We are, well, in a land where it's scavengers will probably go for the carcass if we leave it.
You do notice now that Lightning Kite is gone, a lot of the smaller creatures, basic stuff like squirrels, rabbits and all that are kind of slowly returning to the forest, but you can also see predators in the distance in the dark.
I mean, if it's just a 10-minute wait, I can stay here. That's fine.
Yeah, I can always get it. Me and Brick probably stay.
Okay. So, agreed on Brick and Carrick staying?
Yeah, I have no issue with that.
Then, as the four of you return to the village with them two guarding, um, the walk is pretty simple for the most part. Gull seems to know his way there. He leads you toward the pathway that leads toward the village. As you get there, he says, uh, uh, sorry, I've just got to, he points towards some empty bushes and just says, if you wouldn't mind, just give me 2 minutes. You see, as
You need to pee.
he kind of just like scratches the back of his neck and he doesn't say anything, but you take that to mean, yeah, kind of.
Okay, just don't take too long.
Don't worry, I'm on the path. I can basically just cross through the trees anyway, it's fine. Walks over toward one of the trees and kind of like turns his back to you all, and you don't hear anything at first. It's almost like he's just shy Peer and he's got his back to you. It's just like you can kind of casually hear him humming to himself like.
I'm gonna minor illusion of pee sound
Okay.
next to him.
He kind of goes, oh, thank you. And as you guys continue toward the path, you see the two mercenaries out front, stood there, weapons on their shoulders. They turn and look to you, seeing you already coming. They step aside and let you pass through. As you wander through, you can, as normal people doing their daily routines, wandering about. Some people spot you and kind of give you a smile and a nod. Some look at Gull with a bit of sorry, not Gull. He's not even here. Some look at Asta with a curiosity, seeing what to their eyes is just another human, though dressed very fancy, very well, with these devices on her person. But no one really says anything. As you wander forward, you grab the cart. You can see it perched up just against where the lizard creatures that are rideable are. You ready your horses? Do you leave immediately, or is there anything you want to do while you're here?
Yeah, no, let's just leave immediately.
Okay. As you rally the horses, you see Gull in the distance, standing now over by the. Oh, I'm trying to find his name. Over by the small house that the leader of the expedition has temporarily made his little home. Gull's like stood in front of the door, just gently knocking rhythmically. And yeah, it seems he has other things to do.
Mm-hmm.
As you drive down the path, continue forward, you, with no real recourse, no problem, wander back towards where you left the creature and Brick and Carrick, whom in the meantime, Carrick, Brick, while you two are sat together, still he's not really too sure what's happening, but you give him the general gist of what you're doing at the moment. And he just kind of nods, and with the very broken language that he can speak with you, he says, "Well, we wait. Do you want to play Knucklebone?"
Sort of Carrick sort of looks to Brick with a raised eyebrow and just goes, "Well, that's something I've not played in a while." Sure.
And you see, unlike what you'd expect, he pulls out quite literal bone from a little pouch he has on the side and holds up his knuckle and goes, "Knuckle or bone?" he socks you in the jaw, and then he passes you the bone. And then he kind of like braces himself. He slaps his right cheek.
I sort of look to him with a smirk and just say, knuckle or bone?
He turns, looks at you, and slaps the bone out of your hand, and just does that kind of, go on, just do it, go on.
I'll do so in turn.
And poof! As you give him a smack as well, he kind of like recoils a little bit, but then you see there's that kind of like adrenaline of the moment, and he kind of takes a step back and throws his fists up, and he says out of courtesy, knuckle or bone, and I presume you say knuckle.
Yeah.
And as he gives you a swing back. Though, obviously this is like play fighting essentially, you do know that he has got some pretty strong swings to him. At the last moment as he's swinging, he is slowing down the punch, so it isn't actually hurting. You'll still feel some degree of pain, but that it doesn't do much damage. And he never really aims for like the eyes or the weaker parts of the jaw. And as he swings, you start to get a little bit of a better idea of his general vibe. And though he uses weapons much like you do, you see there is good power in his fists. He has worker's hands. He's more than likely always been in either some kind of system that causes calloused hands and a lot of like picking up and taking to and fro, or he's been in fights a lot. And though the question's never really been asked, he, in a weird way, he has a lot of energy to him. And he seems kind of like a slightly... In human terms, it's like he's like 30 to 40 years old. He has that mild loss of peak, but he's not lost it all just yet. He's in pretty good shape, all things considered. But he's took his swing. Do you take another?
I sort of look to him with a raised eyebrow and a bit of a smirk, because being somewhat familiar with this game, a lot more familiar than you would expect someone of my youth, I sort of look to him and just say, out of courtesy once more, "Oh," I sort of point to the floor, or knuckle and point to my fist.
He kicks the bone up into the air, just about barely manages to grab it, places it back in his satchel, and just kind of motions for you to swing.
Oh, sweet.
And woof, going with an uppercut toward his jaw. This time, as you swing for him, he's like looking dead in your eyes and has that kind of grin of like, yeah. But at the last moment, you see his eyes flick, and he leans back, and you see him turn around as his ears are perked. And he's looking around the area. You see his eyes dart off toward the distance. And he doesn't say anything, because he doesn't seem to want to verbalize something in case it's not a problem. In case it's not a problem. But you see him look off to the distance where your allies had went off toward. And he like crouches a little bit and looks toward the distance. And as you kind of look as well, you don't hear anything in particular, but you see he's placed his hand on the ground and he's like focusing quietly. And after a couple of seconds, you see he slowly picks a weapon from his side, as you then start to feel this low rumbling coming from the distance.
Okay. I too will sort of like prepare a weapon.
Okay. He very quietly says beast. And after a couple more seconds, you feel the rumbling is stronger, and you can kind of make out what looks to be the shape of a large creature in the distance, about 100, maybe 200 feet away, that's stomping around. It's a large creature, but because of the density of the trees, you can barely make out the specific features, though you do see a dark brown skinned hide body. A creature that's low to the ground. It doesn't stand on hind legs, and every now and again you see something swinging behind it, a tail of some kind. But the creature doesn't seem to register. It doesn't come any closer, though it does seem like it's searching.
Okay.
Do you do anything, or do you remain just quiet?
I'll remain vigilant.
Okay. So, a couple more seconds go by with no action, and luckily, this is in between the time it takes for them to get there and get back. The creature continues off, though you see the telltale sign of a large hammer tail swinging slowly back and forth as it wanders off into the distance. Brick then slowly puts his weapon back to his side, remains crouched, and just quietly says, "Mate of a big one." Points behind himself.
I'll say either child or companion.
And so, a couple more minutes go by. You two come to realise that the creature has wandered off by this point, and you hear the sounds of wagon wheels rolling in the distance as your allies do return. So, as you guys do return, wagon in tow, what do you do?
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off and say, okay, let's get this thing with the wagon and go back. I'm not staying here much more than.
sort of look to you guys as you come over and just sort of like give a look and just be like, take your time.
So as you, Brick, and Varnex all walk over to the tail, it's separated of course. You each, Brick and Varnex would take like the front side, the tail itself, and you with the most strength would grab the hammer tail, pick it up. They'd hoist it onto the back, and you'd place the hammer tail just on the enough inside of the wagon that it isn't tipping backwards. But the weight of the full tail itself isn't holding it too far forward. And as each of you get in, your spoils of victory, though not earned by you, but considering you had to deal with a much scarier entity, well earned. As you take it back to town, I will place you all back onto that map. Let me just make sure everything is fine with that map, because it kind of bugged out for me last time I moved someone on it. Okay, so... Okay. Boop. As you return to town, wagon in tow, the creature's remains either packed up or in the back of the wagon, and you stride through town. You can get the wagon about as far as to where Halfir's body is there, before you have to like drag it yourself. But as you do roll into town with a large Ankylosaurus's tail, immediately Kiara, all the way from her stall, is like looking over, and she begins shouting, Oh my god, you managed to grab an ankylosaurus's tail. Oh, it's a beautiful find. Come here. And she comes charging over toward your group.
Hold on, hold on. Not just the tail, we also got these teeth and the back. So,
She's got this smirk that for a second felt sinister, and then you realised it's that same level of sinister that a scientist who's just been offered the go for some crazy batshit experiments, where it's like, yes, there's so much I can do with this, yes. And it does worry you for a second, but she's, for better that you know, harmless.
It's almost like a drooling, if you will.
Yes. Of which she very quickly wipes away. Does not want to spoil the contents. Good.
okay, calm down, calm down. Yes, it's here, yes.
Well,
But,
why? You're not gonna ask for something silly, are you?
no, I'm gonna ask, what are we going to get from out of this?
You're gonna help a local business lady with her ventures, and in turn, she might offer you discounts and once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to use new potions with the ingredients you bring her? Which,
How
speaking
much
of,
of it are we talking about?
25% and nothing better. Speaking of, trying to subside the
35.
conversation, she's pulling out this
35.
potion that the cork of which looks to be like a spine. As she pulls it out, she holds it forward, and since you're currently the one talking, as she holds it out toward you, she goes, "Now this is the one that I made from those spines your friend gave me. I do believe, and I've not had the chance to test it, so feel free to do that. When consumed, you should be able to do that same thing that she can do with her weird back spine things, and you can draw them out of yourself, even though you're not one of her race. It's really cool. But if she drinks it, she just gets twice the amount, and I want to see it work. Where is she anyway?
She's no longer with us.
Did she go home, or are we talking?
She went to a home.
Okay, look, I'm a grown woman. You can say if someone is ixnayed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to summon the fire elemental?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna show the fire. Do I have it?
No, I got it.
Okay.
So you saw the gem? Kerbal?
Well,
Do you,
I just said it's like a joke. I don't think we were actually going to do it.
I mean, it's up to you.
She's in this. She became a fire elemental. Long story, Troll can tell you.
She raises an eyebrow. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, if you ever summon that thing, and it leaves any of its ashes around, bring it back to me. There's got to be something cool I could do with that. Oh, sorry about your friend. You can have that for free.
Sorry about your loss.
She points.
If you do get those ashes, I will take them.
Yes. She points at the potion that she just gave to you and goes, you can have that for free. I'm sorry, I'm not really great at all of this.
I'm not great with people mourning their friends. Sorry.
so about the discount, you were saying 35%?
No, no, I wasn't.
Well, considering we went through all this trouble of getting this.
Yeah.
25%?
Okay, so you're trying to haggle with the woman who's done this for years. Not only do I know you can't give that to anyone else that can use it, I also know that you can't eat that meat.
Okay. What if I just throw it out?
Okay.
Oh, burn it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Make an insight check.
Insight?
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Sure, I'll make it. Can I somehow try to read her mind?
Um. Uh. Do you have the capacity to read her mind?
Yes.
Do you cast it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So as you cast it, uh, in terms of surface thoughts, anyway, it's that would be kind of annoying if they did get rid of it. I mean, I could probably go and find it, but that'd be kind of a pain. I'll have to get people to then go grab it, and that is a pretty big hammer tail. Holy Jesus. Also, what's with the electric static along it? That's kind of weird. For the most part, I mean, it's up to you to determine if she finds more value in it or not, but that's what her surface thought is.
Okay. You know what? How about, let's say 30?
She
You
raises.
go my way, I go your way, and, we keep this thing going because you want ingredients, we want potions, and we don't want to waste a lot of money. Because you know how much money we get. You know it's not that much, and you know we need to survive to get you more ingredients. So, what's a quid pro quo?
She smirks a little. You've done this before, haven't you?
I could say that.
Hmm. Okay, I like you. You can have 30%, fine. But hey, I'm not going any further or any less than that.
We'll see about that. And I win.
Hey, look, if you start bringing me any of the juicy ingredients, I might give you 100%. But that's the juicy stuff.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get juicy eventually. Don't worry.
Good. Then she starts rubbing her hands. I'm gonna need more room. She then turns around and looks toward the forest behind her. You see this, like, small area that's mostly just grass, where the trees barely touch within 10 feet. Yeah, that'll probably do. Cool. I'm going to get to work. In the meantime, I do have a couple of other little nips and picks if you do want to have a look.
Yeah, let us, rest.
Okay, that's fair. Fine. But you know where I am.
You might, we'll give you some time. You have fun with the ingredients. Then we'll see the finished product as well.
She nods. And then, with a big smile, she immediately turns toward the mercs and goes, "Hey, doofus and dipshit! Grab that! We're going over there now." And you see the two of them very reluctantly look to her, they grimace a little, and then they just start walking over. And they take the wagon, they move the stock over there, and she slowly but surely takes bits and pieces over there as well, so she can start tinkering and creating. It's going to take a couple of days regardless, because she's got to test some bits, but yeah, she might make something fun with it. I have to note that she now has a couple more ingredients to tinker with. Uh, okay. So you guys have town to kind of do what you want with now. What do you guys want to do?
Should we report back and get some of the money?
Yeah, I'd like to speak with the head of the camp too.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So as you all together head toward, you can see Gull is off in the distance, currently talking with big man himself, Reginald, as well as Elnalise, who is with him. As you guys stroll through town
Yeah.
after your little chat with Kiara, who is very vocal and very loud, they know you're there. They've been looking, but they are, of course, in the middle of conversation. As you come over, Elnalise is more so here out of the sake of being a secondary head figure, but you see the conversation for her has run dry, and she starts walking away and returns back to the office.
Garrick will say under his breath, "Thank you for that."
Not a fan of the mercenary queen.
Don't think we're a fan of each other.
So as you guys head over, Reginald looks toward you all and goes, "Oh, spiffing, you're all back. What took you so long this time? I thought I'd never see you again. Your compatriot, Gull here, mentioned you had encountered each other over at Solomon's. I expected you back a little bit quicker than a couple of days, but what am I to know? How's things been?"
Well, things happened as they usually do, and yeah, kind of took us a bit longer than expected. But some things probably better to be said, not out in the open.
Then, of course, please follow me into my office. He pulls the door open. As he walks inside, Annalise, of course, is in there as well. She has a table of her own. At this point, you can see stacks of paperwork have gathered on Reginald and Annalise's desks. They have two large cabinets behind them each, with a series of books, scrolls, and so on and so forth. They've been busy little bees. And they invite you inside, of course.
Alrighty. One sec. Yeah.
As you all find, as you all go in to find a seat, Gull stays outside. He's had his moment, and you see he's currently writing down in his book, very distracted. Do you close the door behind you?
Yep.
Shall we? Yeah, we will.
So, closing the door behind you, Reginald sat down at his desk, places his hands in a pyramid. He places his elbows onto the table, looks forward, and just kind of makes a gesture. Who would like to speak first?
I will, for the sake of, getting the ball rolling. I will sort of start off by saying, well, upon exploring among the territories, we came across well, as you know, we ventured upon turf that isn't really ours, and off the orcish nature, if you will. We so happened to stumble across someone who we once were pointing swords at. And that was a orc general who we've spoke about before we first came here.
He nods.
He seems to have a little cabin of his own, from which he has, weirdly enough, time off. almost like a holiday home. He said, I think.
He raises an eyebrow, but continues listening.
He seemed to let us by with no quarrel or anything, and it seems that we gained information that the orc tribes aren't united. They seem to be at split ears and not knowing about the other mercenaries that pulled up upon shore recently.
Yes. That, while we're on that topic, there was communication, shall we say. They're moving across the Willow Plains. One of them had sent a missive toward our new forward base, essentially demanding to leave, that the terrain would soon be controlled by the orcs under the banner of the mercenaries, or vice versa. But the problem with that is it's deep in the Kenra terrain. If they attempted such an attack while divided, they would certainly lose themselves. It's not within the mainstead of the Kenra's terrain, but it is still their terrain. If they fought against us with their people across the entirety of the waters, while the main force of Kenra is literally miles away, in comparison, they would find themselves vanquished. But the audacity of the missive leaves me at odds to believe they have a leg up on us. But that's just me to fill you in on the details there. We have plenty of guards and mercenaries protecting the people that are building it and filling it with assortments of whatever, food and the like, and places to sit. But nonetheless, it does rub me a little bit of a concern that they won't be disparate for long. They might be attempting to unite soon. Either that or these mercenaries are very bold.
What I will say that I haven't actually shared before is I know of these mercenaries. Well, the band, to be precise. And they're not they're not really a band of mercenaries to be sneezed at.
What would your understanding of them be? How vast? How many squadrons could you say?
Oh, that depends on it depends if they've joined with the fleet that is of depends if they've actually made dealings with Mundo.
Oh, Rasmandis, right.
Yes,
Now I'm
because
told.
these mercenaries, last I heard, for some reason had dealings with the Rasmandus fleet. There was rumour that I heard that they were joining the Rasmandus fleet, but from what I heard in the last harbour place I'd passed by before I became stranded, was that the rumour went about that there were still mercenaries for hire and not joining the Rasmandus fleet, but there was other rumours flocking about that they had joined and unified with the Rasmandus fleet.
Given our current predicament and the state that the Willow Plains is in, given that not only is Theron seeping their fingers in, us from Gustodon and Janasta are also doing so, it would be an unfortunate common sense to understand a big third party would be involved too. But
yes, depends whether there's a third party or whatnot with this. If it's, well, I fear I'd hate to feel and think that there would be a third party involved. But if there was a third party involved, you'd be looking at fleets. You wouldn't be looking at squadrons.
Maybe it
depends
is
on
the calm
what-
before the storm.
Depends on the stake that they have at hand for this, well, for being here. Because this mercenary band, which I last known them as the, what were they known as? The Iron Talons, I do believe, because the squadron, well, the person who led the band used to have a hawk, and he used to like making finger puppets for his hawk to make his deadly weapons. But yeah. But other than that, that's information I do know, because they once hired me as a part-time job when I was looking for work to, well, get by, and it was just work of clearing out caves and escorting caravans. I've never really known them to, well, be waging war and wanting to claim land. But that's why I fear that if there's a third party involved, and they have boldened their efforts of getting money or becoming desperate to need gold coin, then unifying with the Resmander's fleet, well, is something that could happen.
Then, under the presumption that this attempt at coercion or blackmail, I will inform our people to be on guard. Worst case, I shall have to call for additional forces, which would blow the budget a mite bit, but it is worth it for the foothold we have here. I cannot risk an all-out collision. Our connection, our temporary beneficial alliance with the Jinsei cannot be lost over squabbles with another party that are here for God knows what reason. This is... it's going to be a whole back and forth between the council, but that is another problem for another time.
But besides that and the information we got of the orcs being, well, divided, because when we told them about the fact that the mercenary band from the letter had been pulling up ashore from and spotted by scouts over at their continent, well, let's just say that he was quite insulted, considering he said from what his position is, and that his clansmen would lower themselves to cooperate with weaker beings such as ourselves would be an insult amongst the clan. So he didn't seem to know about it, so that might be advantageous to us if they, well, fight amongst themselves. But aside from when we got that information and moved on through, we came across the underground ruins. I sort of look upon Sol and just say, well, Sol seemed to be more magically inept than I am to explain some of the happenings and what him and Halfir went through magically and mentally. So I'll let him take the stand on this one.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to explain. We could say it was a sign for a certain deity. As you can see, how it's pretty much at the moment. We went inside. There was a puzzle we had to complete. It wasn't that difficult. So
Muzzy, your mic's gone a bit muffled.
oh, is that is that better?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me just. Okay, this should be much better.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So puzzle, yes. Did the puzzle, went inside, explored for a bit, and we found like, oh, we saw that before with the underwater. Uh, a creature that's apparently from outer space or something. We're not really sure yet, and it was caged in some sort of what we would call it, a force field that doesn't let it get out, and then an alien, well, you could say that an alien, people would have to release it from all we know. After that, we had to knock him out. It, the alien got out when inside this time, trying to run away. There were a few golden constructs. Uh, Sadly, the creature, you could say, killed Atlesia. She turned into a fire elemental that helped us a little bit until Solomon came and helped us. And the rest, I guess, you know, that's about it.
He looks to you, Asta. Now, as one of the members of the dignitary, I assume you're unlucky enough not to encounter that event with them. What what would your opinion be of that event? What do you believe would have happened? Because I won't lie, I'm rather out of my depth.
I wish I could be of more use, or rather to say, I wish my knowledge would be of more use at this current moment in time. Me and my associate Gull have already been peering over endless documents and notes for quite some time now, even in our search before we met this merry band of adventurers. This entire magical structure scheme set out around the island is quite, well, if it's fascinating to say the least, but it is also, until now, dubiously incapable of revealing itself to us. We know less of this artifact than the adventurers seem to do. Um, so I actually hoped you would have more answers as well.
Yes, well, rather unfortunately, I do not. Though you do have a fair point that these fellows certainly know quite a bit more. Since their arrival, I have learned disparaging amounts that they could find out for themselves as they told me of their journeys. I must say, it does seem to be like some form of omni tool of some kind, from what little I can gather. It seems to have varying effects based on the will of the moment, and if it can. There's not a real good way to word it, but translate that intent. But it does seem to still have its reductions in terms of what it can do. The other thing that is interesting, however, is that I think I've noticed, unlike yourself, who is a woman of more the scientific, they have had unique interactions with them. Halfir, in particular, from the stories that have been mentioned, seems to have a more a it's still a magical relationship, but it seems to be more tied into his relationships with his belief, whereas with Sol here, it looks to be a purely magical and I believe, a psionic connection. So all I could say, without having one of my own, is find what yours is with the device, though I truly believe you would have more success with a scientific scale. Though I think the only thing you were missing before is being here, where such a progression seems to occur infinitesimally quicker. However, from prior knowledge, Saul, I do believe you mentioned you've always had the device, or you encountered it a longer period ago than before you came here?
Yeah, you could say that. I just found it a long time ago.
So it is rather concerning. Maybe because of your intricate connection with it, it was easier to connect with you. Maybe it's a psionic thing. I, again, without having a device of my own, could tell you no further, but that is the knowledge that they have accumulated and that I can ascertain.
Well, different matters on the same hand. This entire expedition is funded exactly for what purpose, if I may ask?
Well, he looks around the room. Yes, about that. He turns to his left. Elnalise looks to him. She then turns around, grabs a scroll from the wall, unfurls it along the table. She speaks quietly toward the air. She has two fingers over her lips as she speaks, and then, almost as if she kissed her fingers, she places it down onto the center of the scroll, and you see the scroll illuminate, and then this field, like a bubble, blooms around you all and stops at the edges of the room. Now, while inside of this bubble, none other outside can understand us. Only those of us who are physically present are able to hear each other. So, for short and long terms, if there is anything watching us or listening in on us that we cannot see, they cannot hear. This is of the utmost intricacies and secrecy. Should this leave this room, I will know whom had spilled the secrets. Elnalise and myself, of course, know of this fact, but should it escape, it goes without saying that you will all be hunted down and executed on the spot. So I trust, by now, that you will behave yourselves, and understand the sheer fact of my telling you this. I allow you secrets solely on the sense that I know you will continue to serve. And Asta, as a member, you of course are exempt to that fact because you are trusted wholeheartedly. As knowledge is your edict, so is secrecy. Now then, we, as primary, have been sent here to unify, or generally understand, the Willow Plains, and extend its knowledge of us. This is the true reason we are here. We are here to unify. We are here to collect them into the umbrella of the rest of the world, instead of being this disparate section of clans that are causing themselves more damage than they need. However, the reason the dignitary would wish us, with the great funding and knowledge base that we have, to remain here is to find and understand relics and caverns such as the one you've recently experienced. There are entities of a bygone era that have left their mark here. Before your ventures, they were genuine rumours. Rumours needing exploring, as we'd heard of similar facsimiles across the world. And it had never bore fruit before. But then we heard of a man such as yourself, Sol. We needed your recruitment as a guarantee. Not only out of knowing, also out of provoking a reaction. Seemingly, with that reaction, we were dealt the hand of truth. Across this place since your arrival, and Hellfear's joining, several elemental gates have awakened. This cavern you mentioned has come to light of day. Several factions of the dignitary have opened their hands and their wallets to fund us further, to inspect. Now, we have been allowed to use these resources in whichever way we decree is necessary. However, we have been told that certain parties within our repertoire, emotions toward all of you, are to be gently nudged towards areas where these pentacles of yours and strange occurrences can be best revealed. So, to put it bluntly, you were unwitting test subjects. But I believe I can trust you, and given how much you have sacrificed, I would be a lesser man had I not revealed this to you. He very uncharacteristically looks concerned and doubtful of his mission. His face turns kind of sallow and a little bit sour and closes his good eye. I am guilty of another path. I was sent here to be the vanguard of an execution squadron, just in case any of your pentacles should ever leave your hands by your own willingness. I have had men follow you in your journeys across the domain and relay messages through orbs or through vast sending messages. I regret my actions, and they were not orders given to me upon high. I just did not believe until now you could be trusted. What you held in your possession was too powerful and too foreign to allow to fall into the hands of another. It is the penchant of the dignitary to make sure that such artifacts remain in our possession, the betterment of the world. I will not pretend I can lay my hands down for you to chop. I can give you the most profuse apology. Beyond that, I did nothing more than my station required.
I'm gonna look pissed and I'm gonna try to insight check.
Okay. Ask them make one as well,
I will.
since you have an intimate knowledge of the dignitary. Okay. It's not the worst.
No. I'd like to use my inspiration.
Okay, go for it.
If that.
Get that 20, just because you can. Go on. You might as well.
Whoa.
Remember it's with... Yeah, there you go.
Well,
So
didn't do a
12.
whole lot.
It's unfortunate, but you know. So, firstly, you then. Everything he's saying is within the boundaries. It is in terms of what you know of the dignitary, everything he says is about what you should be doing as part of the dignitary. If these people that you barely know are running around with artifacts and you need them to test these events, technically speaking, him having them followed it's a relatively normal thing in comparison. You would have easily heard numerous times of the dignitary sending people to watch people. Maybe not so much have them with a noose around their neck ready to kill them. That's slightly different, but this is a different terrain. It is and isn't an extreme. But in terms of everything he said, it is well within the boundaries, and you don't know what his level in the dignitary is, you just know he's pretty high up. So he's well within his rights to use whatever means he deems necessary to protect knowledge itself. So far as you can tell, it is up to you to decide if he's in the right or wrong, but what he's doing is within the realms of what he is supposed to be doing in terms of the mission. As for you, Mosey, he does seem to actually regret sending people to follow you. He only regrets it because he now knows he can trust you. You can tell by just glancing at him, like I said, he only regrets it because he trusts you now, but he wholeheartedly believed that's what he should do, and he does not regret doing that. He had you followed, and that was the job. Nobody told him to do it, but that is what he would have done, irregardless of everything else, until he knew he could trust you. But everything else he said so far, from better or worse that you can tell, seems to be the truth.
Does he, do I sense that he's hiding any other trick that he did, any other foul play?
With the check, you don't believe so. There's probably always something that he will have to hide from you for one good or one bad reason. But at the very least at the moment, this is very much a heart on the sleeve moment. He is telling you the things he knows he's guilty of toward you. If there is anything else, there's nothing that's as bad as that. Or at least that he believes anyway.
I see. So I look him dead in the eye and I'm going to tell him, okay, now that you told me that, why should I trust you? You had me followed and killed on sight. If something goes wrong, without telling me. After, right after saying how much he needed me.
As he stares you back deep in the eye, he says, "Frankly, you've very little reason. However, we are on the cusp of something important. You've made discoveries that it would take lifetimes for others to find. We're not fully sure what, where, or when it occurred even, or if it will continue while you're here. I am solely doing the duty I was... No, that's a lie. I am doing what I believe is my duty as part of the mission of a clan of knowledge seekers. I will not apologize for my actions prior. I will only apologize for not having more faith in you. I did it out of a fear of the item you possess being used improperly. You've had it for so long that the use would be correct if you had the means. The fear is that it would either consume you in some form or someone else would use it against the world itself. And in my heart of hearts, all that you and Halthia have both done with it so far leaves me to have concerns about it causing true deep-seated unrest across the world. And I won't lie to you further. If you wish to leave, I will get you a boat and return you to wherever you so choose across this realm. But you will be followed, not by my hand. There will always be someone watching. The dignitary knows you have this thing with you now. And whether or not for the rest of your life you ever use it again, for good or ill, they will follow you. The best I can say to you now is, under my newly awakened eye, I will respect that you are a good man, and I have done wrong by you. And I can only ask, I can even beg, if you so need it, to stay with the expedition. Continue as the man you are. Continue with your friends here. Search for more of these ruins if it should run into your purview, your will. Help my friend Asta here. Help her awaken her own if you should deem it your will. But whatever you do, if you are going to leave, at least let me say farewell.
Okay, I'm going to telepathically ask him, how much do you know?
Let's go to secrets. So, telepathically in return, very quickly, he just says, I know that there are creatures that used to reside within the very skies above. They had caused torment onto this world in its primordial days. Beyond that, I know very little. All I know is these ruins are somehow connected, and possibly even your pentacles are connected to them. I'm not too sure if they are of the good or evil will, but nonetheless, be careful. They are ancient.
Yeah, honestly, that I could have guessed by, the Kraken Rail. Okay, I'm going to tell him. I'll keep that in mind. But how much do you know about me?
I know what you are, but I know that what you are is not who you are. Nor do I care, in all honesty. You are a man in your own right, beyond your flesh.
Okay, so he essentially knows the changeling thing.
Mhm.
Uh-huh, I see. That's what I wanted.
Yep.
Okay,
Cool.
sure. Go back.
Yeah. And then rocks fall. So, yeah. After that, he just gives you a small nod, looks over the rest of the party and goes, well then, with that, I'm assuming concluded?
I sort of look amongst everyone else and just. Actually, wait, Did we speak about the dragon?
Nope.
I would like to also say something, but I don't know if this would go off on a tangent.
The only thing that I will say is that after the whole. Well, into the room thing. I'll sort of like, as he looks upon and says anything else, I'll just say, well, upon, well, trying to escape the ruins afterwards, unfortunately, we did lose the Disser along the way.
Your friend had mentioned. I am sorry to hear.
Hmm. And upon, well, there's also thanks to her that we actually managed to get out of there somewhat alive. And upon departing from there, we met your associate here, points to Asta, and that's also when we came across the Hammertail, and upon, well, trying to figure out how to deal with it, Varnex found that there was an underground labyrinth, if you will, underneath a dead tree from which the Hammertail was using as a scratching post.
He raises his eyebrow a little.
Seems to be around explored. If you want to send someone down there, I'd probably recommend talking to Varnex about what was down there, because he's still yet to explain to us really what was really down there. And upon, well, trying to find out more and investigate more, we were attacked by a blue dragon.
He raises his eyebrows slightly higher. Looks over towards you, Varnex. Would you care to elaborate?
Carrot's not entirely wrong. True, I discovered an underground cavern source where there was carnivorous plants and zombies.
Eric
And
looks a bit alarmed, like, the zombies.
plant zombies, some kind of fusion, we'll get into that later. And yes, there was a blue dragon. That approached the camp. It was that which defeated the dinosaur, sledge-tail, whatever it is. Fortunately, we was able to compel it to leave us alone.
I'm having a difficult time understanding how a blue dragon was here. There are no documented dragons within the region.
Sort of look upon everyone else and just say, we all saw it. I saw it upon when I was shipwrecked here, and I watched Varnex look at it dead in the eye, hold up a sword, and they seemed to somewhat, well, lock eyes with each other before it struck Varnex with lightning, and then upon seeing Varnex not dead, seemed to fly off. And I'm not really much of one, well, he studies nature, but if I was in somewhat of a bar fight and see an interaction like that, it's like the big guy punching the small guy, seeing the small guy can take a hit and respecting the guy for it. Or it's a dragon thing, which he is dragonborn, so I don't know.
It's a dragon thing.
I sort of look with a pointed finger like, and look to Reginald with a sort of like, see, I did kind of guess right.
Yes, but that still doesn't really... Hold on. He pulls a book from a shelf behind him, flicks a couple of pages, and is just like, no, not that. Haha! Places the book down on the table in front of you. He shows you an image of the lightning kite, and you see a series of notes on the left page, and a full, like character artist sketch on the right page.
Oh, that's it. Why'd you have a book about it? I sort of look at it.
He quickly shuts it. Yes, about that. Turns it around, places it back into a section on the wall. That is the lightning kite. It is a... Well, we're not 100% sure. We've only really 2 registered encounters with it. But the lightning kite is a monstrosity that has... It's always difficult with monstrosities, but we believe it is a dinosaur with some parts heritage of a dragon. So while you're not wrong per se, it is technically a dinosaur.
So like, Carrick looks so confused right now, and he's like,
It's a dinosaur. Dragon. It's a hybrid.
right.
There is belief that at some point in our history, a dragon had visited the Willow Plains and copulated with the locals.
He what now?
Had sex.
Oh, okay.
I should...
We all remember that Carrick is just 18.
Yeah. No, he's literally just like, I really should try to remember you're just a young man. Your build is always so distracting.
I can't help. I grew up along ruffians wanting to fight on it every day, so
Well,
I sort of look upon myself.
well, that would sort of suggest you should know more about such terminology. But I mean, it's all... It
I
doesn't
believe
matter.
the phrasing was the issue and not the matter at hand.
Indeed.
I don't think really I grew up around a camp of hybrids, was it? I don't even know what it is, and I copulate, if people are gonna, do the deed, they're just gonna say they're gonna fuck. Or go for a quick shag round the back.
Yes, before we divulge into all of that, I do believe that is... I'm assuming that is the majority of your ventures so far. I must ask though, what path did you take to get back here to encounter an Ankylosaurus? It seems rather odd. They're very territorial, and you would have to actually stop to annoy it to have to deal with one, even if it was using something as a scratch post.
Well, we don't really know. We just came across it being disgruntled and using the dead tree as a scratching post.
Something must have pissed it off and retreated down to the tunnels.
Indeed. He's got a raised eyebrows, kind of like looking absent-mindedly, trying to think about something, but then he seems to just lose it and shakes his head. Stefan, did you have something you want to talk about?
Well, on the matter of hand that you seem to want to close this case, I'd like to present something to you. I'm gonna pull out my notebook, which is like filled with loose papers and everything. I'm gonna like just fan it open, like in the middle, and I'm just gonna like smack it down in front of him.
Raises an eyebrow, looks down at it.
Please do gather through my own notes and tell me where in it I find any reports of this expedition. Do you know how many months me and my peers have tried to analyze this object with not even a simple note from the dignitary?
Well, about that. See, the problem being we needed someone to do all of the required footwork to truly understand if there was a way we could force it. The belief at the time, before all of the events here, was that it is still a device. Maybe we could shunt or craft or recreate or do something with it via science, but as you can tell, it was a fruitless endeavor.
A
Hence,
fruitless endeavor. I have never there is field work being conducted here. These adventurers have learned more in what I can gather weeks than me and some of the brightest minds of our nation have in months. This is ridiculous, preposterous, completely unfathomable at every conceivable level. Not a single report, not a single footnote of any of this. We were left to our own devices. Do you know what it is I am? Do you see the wings? I am a sage. If you wish this to be documented or archived, you could have gone and you could have. They could have taken it out elsewhere if the bloody thing didn't follow me around. I am not just a scholar who sits in a study for months, scribbling notes in the hopes it does something. That is not science. I am a sage. I do field work.
You see Carrick in the corner of your eye raise a hand up.
What?
So what are you? Are you a scholar or a sage? Because you keep saying, I'm a scholar, but I am a sage.
A scholar, but I am not a librarian. I'm not here to document
sage.
things.
What are
Yes,
you?
I am a sage.
Are you both then?
I work in field.
If you aren't both, if you're both, why not just say, I am a scholar and a sage?
Reginald has got that kind of look of like, I could intervene if you want.
My edict is to protect people and to gather knowledge, not to transcribe knowledge, not to sit and do mindless and fruitless endeavors. If this was the case, the dignitary could have long since given me at least just a little bit of information about this. I could have been here within weeks on a boat.
Relax, he's just trying to get a raise out of you.
I'm just trying to make sure I know what to explain to Brick because he can't talk common.
At the moment, he's literally just sat there, just looking between you all. His face is not sure if it should be like grinning or frowning, and he's kind of just looking blank-faced. And every now and again, he just like ends up picking his nose, just like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, so fuck it. Well, again, to reiterate a point, your research had officially begun before the expedition's conception. But by the time we had gathered the resources and people and brought our way over here, and figured that yours was not the path, as unfortunate as it was, we still needed the certainty. We needed to know for a fact the device would not cooperate unless we were here, unless we were involved.
How many men have you lost on this expedition?
You see Elnally sat to the left of him, slides a bit of paperwork forward, and Reginald turns, looks toward her with that face, and he shakes his head slowly, and she isn't saying anything, but she turns to look at him, she cocks a leg up over the other, and points her head down toward the paperwork. And you see a inventory. On the inventory, it notes how many coffins are being ordered and when the boat is arriving to collect the bodies. And it is needless to say that you don't know the who's or whats they were doing when they were here, but there's a minimum of the 50s and 60s. Some of which dignitaries, some of which common folk that belong here in the village, or in other villages that were lost and collected, or in some case her mercenaries.
This unbelievable. To what extent does the forum exist if the sages are not used for anything?
Yes. He looks at you with
Yeah.
what looks to be like a smile beneath the beard, but it's one that's sort of a broken smile. And he literally just says, yes.
When this expedition is done, the Forum will get a thorough report of the dignitaries' doings.
And as a guild master, I will quite happily join you in the onslaught. Because, frankly, the resources have been placed in rather confusing places. I've had control over soldiers, men, in some cases boys, but the people here have had only Atlesa's mercenaries as defence. It has luckily served well enough, but there have been times where they have been drawn away. There have been other, lesser useful sages placed in places around the Willow Plains, places that are not necessary, by people above me that believe I have no right in guiding their hands anymore. I was barely allowed to ask for your services, and that was solely because I am on the project with the other users of the cause. And given their success as of late, I've managed to keep hold of them.
I understand. It's fine. I'm not blaming you. I'm merely analyzing the situation and giving my conclusions. As much as that is already whatever. What has happened, and it cannot be changed. However, the situation can still be changed now. I have a contact, an old mentor, and may be able to gather in a few more experienced sages for the time being, although that depends on how many men you have.
He points toward the window, which currently is closed, but you get the gist. Everybody you see outside, not counting the people off under my employ, which are not many, that are aiding with the construction of the next forward base. Everybody outside of this room is my people. I have, outside of that, maybe 40 people, most of which are either Atlesa's men, 2 of which are sages under my direct control and have been since their youth, and the rest are hired hands from my mercenary years. Frankly,
Contributors,
not many,
contractors.
essentially.
Any refugees from anywhere else?
There are a couple of people that have been given a comfortable home at the forward base that we found while searching the outskirts of the Willow Plains before we settled here. Not many, and some might have moved on with other family that they'd find. There was something of a search made, but not many successful.
Excellent. That would at least help to improve the point being made. On your next supply ship, allow me to send a letter with it.
He nods.
I'll see to help the standing of this situation.
He looks at you for a moment. There's a clear look of pride, and there is a proper smile that goes across his face. He just nods a little bit, and then he looks over each of you.
For the time being, on that matter at hand, I am available and you can station me wherever you may need if you have anybody who's in need of treatment. Although I would like to request, as was supposed to be specified, my duties will be lying with this group if they are venturing out to find more of these so-called towers and ancient stations befitting these relics.
He raises an eyebrow. You believed I was going to send you elsewhere.
I've
You're...
tried a few times. That orders sometimes mingle with interests of the individual.
Well, unlike my superiors, my head is still fastened onto my shoulders, and I would much rather keep all of my little nuggets in a basket, the ones that can do the best work. And I know should something turn, I know you will do what is required for the betterment of the world. And as dark as I might have made that sound, it is said now in truth, not in secrecy. You all will help each other, you will stick together, and you will do the work that needs to be done.
I have nothing more on the matter.
Good. Then if that is all, he looks over each of you. I believe that ends our meeting for, I suppose, the month at this point. As he begins to stand up, you hear a knocking on the door, and whomsoever chooses to open the door, if you want, he kind of makes a motion toward the door. As the door is opened, you see around about 5'6", 5'7" tall, half-elven. He looks like a boy, but given elven lifespans, it could be anything. He's very dirtied across his face. He's wearing very fine amounts of clothing. He has a large backpack on his back. He goes, I've got a letter for you. Oh, let me just creep through. Moves past all of you, places the letter down in front of Reginald. Make sure no one's grabbing at it or anything. Reginald takes it from his hand and just gives him a nod. He then turns, walks out, closes the door gently behind him and leaves. Well, since I've already agreed no more secrecy, opens up the letter, unfurls it, starts reading and just is nodding his head slowly and just Well, despite our dreary previous conversation, I do have a slight light at the end of the tunnel for you. It seems that the forward base is essentially ready, and they have moved more people into it. We can start dissolving this camp, and anyone that wants to come with us can come with us. So the question being, firstly, is there anything you need to do while you are still here? We more than likely will require a week of time before we actually do leave. So if you do wish to come alongside the caravan, I would appreciate the extra hands. But you of course can do whatever you desire.
Can we keep going next week, maybe?
Yes.
Si, senor.
Okay. Then we shall leave it there for now. The forward base is ready. You are all, of course, invited to join the caravan going there by next week. Whether or not that's quicker or slower is dependent on anyone that wants to go or otherwise, and if they can get a convoy prepared in time. You guys still, of course, can go visit the tree, inspect it. I will let you know that, because I didn't say it before. Until Reginald knows for a fact the tree is safe, if you guys can deal with whatever's in there and make it safe so that he can send someone in there to collect resources before the week is over, great. Otherwise, he might not be able to spare the resources, especially for something he might not really need to deal with. But given that there will still be villagers living here, he doesn't want to risk a rogue element. but that's not to say that's your problem exactly. It's just that it might cost more people than he can afford that are less skilled than you as a collective. So, TLDR, deal with the tree if you can. If you can't, that's fine. But we shall continue next week.
Copy that, chieftain.
Yeah, boy!
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.